The featured company is a paid client of Proactive Group Holdings, and this recording is disseminated by Proactive on its behalf.
And on Wednesday, we dropped our second best result ever. I think it was 23 meters of 11.5% copper equivalent. So mind-blowing numbers, but the Lion Zone continues to deliver. It's a super high-grade discovery, and I think the big switch in the game for us was when we decided a month ago to move up the MRE.
All right, welcome back inside our Proactive newsroom. And joining me now is Terry Lynch. He is the CEO of Power Metallic Mines. And Terry, it's great to see you again. How are you?
Steve, it's always awesome to be here. Great. I'm doing fantastic.
Good to have you along. I know you've had a lot of news out recently. It's been very busy. Let's give everyone a bit of an update on what's been happening. I know you've been drilling a ton and doing a lot of different things.
Yeah, I mean, we've had last week, we had a couple of spectacular news releases out with some really high grade results that we had told people were coming, in the Lion Zone, sort of quite close to the surface. So we had, I think on Monday, it was 17.5 meters of 9.5% copper equivalent, and I think 39 meters of almost 5.66% copper equivalent. So two massive intersections. And then on Wednesday, we dropped our second best result ever. I think it was 23 meters of 11.5% copper equivalent. So mind-blowing numbers, but the Lion Zone continues to deliver. It's a super high-grade discovery, and I think the big switch in the game for us was when we decided a month ago to move up the MRE. So the mineral resource estimate, which we had initially planned to deliver in Q1 of 2027, we're now delivering in July. So that's going to put a massive line in the sand that I think will demonstrate to people just how valuable this discovery already is. I think that's, since we did that about a month ago, the stock's rallied quite hard, and it's continuing to rally because obviously the results are there, and this thing's worth a lot more than it's at right now. But it's up for the market to decide.
Yeah, and Terry, is it mostly the successes you've seen at the Lion Zone? Because I know that you had success before Lion Zone as well. The property is quite large. So, but has Lion Zone been a game changer?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I mean, the valuation, where we're at now, we think we'll, be putting out this MRE, and analysts have us somewhere between sort of probably, 8 to 16 million tons. We think probably somewhere between 10 to 14, let's say conservatively somewhere in there, probably between 5 and 6% copper equivalent. So that's a pretty massive discovery, especially when you got to cover it with 95% recovery rates, which we've already proven can happen with the full metallurgical results that we got on the full-blown SGS test, and then the payables that we'll get. So we think we're looking at probably a 10-digit PEA, but let's see. That's what you get if you put it in Grok or Claude or any of your ChatGPT, all that stuff. But obviously, we'll have to let that come out of the science from the independent analysts. But I mean, we felt that we needed to move that up because the discrepancy between our valuation and what we really have already discovered is fantastic, and shouldn't be there. But so it was. Let's change it. Since we've done that, it's obviously rallied. And I think the key thing is that the one thing our drill bit has shown is that this is a very prolific discovery, and we think this is just scratching the surface. And that's really what the second part of the conversation is today, is that we announced this morning about our deal with Ideon, and using the muon technology to identify new exploration areas for us to explore and to successfully discover on. And it's a pretty interesting and very innovative approach to discovery. It's been used by about maybe 15 or 20 deposits around the world, some really big ones like Olympic Dam, and then Rio Tinto is using it in a big way. Fireweed has literally doubled their resource using this technology. And what it is as bizarre as it sounds, is there's cosmic rays out there, and they come down through the Earth's atmosphere into the Earth, and they come out the back end of the Earth. Nothing stops these things. But what does slow it down is the density of the rock. So some genius at Ideon figured this out and developed a whole, a process, a mathematical process, a AI-driven process that enables them to forecast specific density of the rock in the ground. So we know, for example, in our particular project, that our massive sulfides are between 4 and 5, specific gravity. So the density of the rock, and the typical rock around it is like 2. So it's quite a difference. So if you got a technology that can flash up that difference, then you know where to drill and you can drill effectively. So we're doing it the way that the process is: you drill these deep holes, you put the tools down there, gathers data. They're currently doing that now, but it takes some time. It takes at least 3 months before you start to get meaningful data, and really as much as 12 months to get right to the bottom of it. And but all the way through, you're enhancing your. Think of it like a Polaroid, where you start to go, it gets clear, and then all of a sudden, wow, you got the picture. So our whole view is that we'll do it first. Part of it is over our existing known structure, where we know exactly what's going on, and so we'll be able to confirm the technology is working there. Obviously, we believe it is, or we wouldn't have started it, but still, it's good practice to do that. And then it'll probably identify some areas that we can add some quick tuck-in tonnage by drilling there. But most importantly, it'll expose another half of the vector that will, we will have no idea about what's out there. And if it identifies those similar types of rocks out there, then we'll know where to drill. And the whole idea is if that starts to work, then, we've got 330 square kilometers to explore. This could be the expedited way to explore it. It's just another one of the tools that have been in our explorers toolkit, along with borehole EM and ambient noise. And these guys have done a great job of discovering the project and growing it. And I believe they'll continue to do a great job in adding on the next range of discoveries. And that's what this Muon announcement speaks to.
And Terry, one last question. Just because you're putting that mineral resource assessment out earlier than you had anticipated, there's still lots of work going on the rest of this year. Still more drilling, right?
Yeah. We've got 6 rigs that'll be turning starting in early June again. Another 35, probably 40,000 meters to drill for the rest of the year. And then we're chasing down some of our best targets, really the Fold Hinge area, Elephant, and continued extensions of the Lion Zone. So we're quite stoked about what we see exploration-wise. And then later in the winter season, we'll start to get that Muon data and be able to follow up on that. So, we finished off the MRE drilling in April 30th, so that's all done. And now it's back to the exploration game of finding the second Lion Zone and ultimately finding the parent of this deposit, which is going to be a very big nickel copper sulfide PGE. That's probably quite a bit deeper. But we've got some good ideas of where that's at, and we're looking forward to following up on those very soon in June and the rest of the year.
All right, we look forward to it. Terry, thanks so much. Really great update. Really appreciate your time as well. Thank you.
Thanks, Steve. Great talking to you. Cheers for now.
All right, there's Terry Lynch, the CEO of Power Metallic Mines.
The featured company is a paid client of Proactive Group Holdings, and this recording is disseminated by Proactive on its behalf. It is for informational purposes only and does not constitute investment advice, an offer, or a solicitation to buy or sell any securities. Viewers should conduct their own research and consult a qualified financial advisor before making investment decisions. The views expressed are those of the speaker and do not necessarily reflect those of Proactive Group Holdings, trading as Proactive Investors or its affiliates. No responsibility is accepted for any loss arising from reliance on the information presented.